Hey guys, what's up? It's Rygar the Destroyer, and today we are going to be doing another episode of the Q&A series. Now, as always, if you have a question that you'd like for me to answer in next week's video, go ahead and throw it down in the comment section below, and make sure that you stay till the end because I will be asking you guys a question that we'll discuss next week. So, all of the responses that I got on last week's video were kind of in regards to the question that I asked, and that was if you could have any action figure line that either hasn't been done the way you wanted or has never been made before, what would it be? So let's go ahead and jump on in. The first comment comes from FMF Productions, and they say, this kind of doesn't count because they are finally doing it, but a line of X-Men movie figures, I've been wanting that for years. And yeah, this is something that I've heard before. Now, obviously, I don't actually collect Marvel Legends figures, but when you're in this, the toy collecting community, word kind of gets around. And for whatever reason, I think it has to do something with like Fox owning the rights to those or something, but they weren't able to make them. So it's awesome that you guys are finally getting figures that you've wanted for so long, especially since it seems like something that would be such a no-brainer. I mean, those movies were fairly popular, so I don't know why they never wanted those to be made. The next comment comes from Elon Smuck, and per your request, I'm not going to read your entire comment, but the meat and potatoes of it, if I can find it here. Let's see. So you say that you'd like a line of historical figures. Here we go. Here, historical stuff like knights, Romans, or samurai. You said that you want it similar to stuff that you've seen before, like there are plenty of companies that make those 1/6 scale ones, but obviously, like you said in your comment, they're way too expensive, and I agree, and that you wanted something that's similar to those, but comes in a 6-inch line at an affordable price. One thing I will say is I did find a company. I was poking around on BBTS one day, and I found some 1/12 scale historical figures. They were like Gothic knights, but they were done in that like Mezco style, so they were like well over $100 a piece. But yeah, I agree with you, like knights, samurai, all sorts of that kind of stuff. Those make awesome toys, and for some reason nobody is ever interested in making them at an affordable price. Something like the Black Series or Marvel Legends, but of historical themes, I think would make a really cool line. And it could even be expanded, at least in my opinion, out even further to, pre-Romans, like, cavemen, all the way up to like Civil War, cowboy era, like everywhere in between. I think those all make really cool toys, but that's an awesome suggestion. Steve Roger says, I would like to have Slipknot figures with different series. For example, the first series is the first album, second series is the second album. And this is why I love asking you guys questions. This is something that I never ever would have expected. I personally I'm not a huge fan of Slipknot. I'm not real familiar with them. But obviously the kind of the shtick that they go for, like their thing is the masks that they wear on stage. And I think that Slipknot figures would make a really interesting figure. Obviously, they kind of blur the lines between, like horror and music. So I think that they would make an interesting line. And I'm kind of surprised that they've never tried anything like that before. I think that's a really cool idea. The final one comes from Soundwave NL1977. And you say that you would like to see G.I. Joe return in proper 6-inch, not the ones that are coming out, but real 80s representation. So this is one of those things where I heard a lot. I didn't realize this was something that was going to be coming out until Toy Fair this year, obviously. But after hearing it, I heard a ton of people saying the same thing as you. It seems like Hasbro kind of missed the mark with those. It's almost like they didn't really read their audience correctly. Because I looked at the toys and they do look cool, but obviously they're not the same kind of vintage designs, and I'm not the best to speak on this because I'm not huge into G.I. Joe or anything, but everybody is asking for the vintage designs like from the 80s, which I think would be really cool. Hopefully, because it is Hasbro, and obviously Hasbro is known for their Black Series and Marvel Legends, especially in the Marvel Legends, they do a mix of, modern movie stuff, also, vintage comic book styled stuff. So hopefully the G.I. Joe line will kind of listen to their audience and eventually kind of, you know, bring in some of those characters that everyone loves so much. Anyway, thank you guys so much for all of your stuff. I kind of rambled on for probably too long there, but they're really interesting ideas that I really enjoyed. But the question for next week's video is, if you could have any vehicle from Star Wars kind of represented as a toy or brought into a toy, it could be anything you want, what would it be? And I want two things from you down in the comment section. Just tell me, you know, obviously what vehicle you want and what scale. I think that's interesting to me, so I'd love to see that. But anyway, thank you guys so much for your comments. I have a ton of fun going through these. And anyway, I guess I'll see you guys later.